Mixer or audio interface. These two pieces of equipment are the cornerstone of your studio. So the question is, which piece of gear is right for your show? In today's presentation, I'll break down these two pieces of equipment and I'll show you exactly what to buy and when. The first question we need to answer is how many inputs. Inputs would be Skype, telephone, VIOP sources such as OB100, music and background filler, and also studio talent. Each one of these counts as an input, and you can have multiple inputs for each category. Go ahead and write down your total number of inputs now. The next thing we need to examine is the number of aux sends required to produce your show. Keep in mind, you need one aux send for each person not in studio. This would be Skype, telephone, and VIOP lines. Knowing the aux sends is very important. Let me show you why. Here's my sample show. Voice talent, that's me. I've got a Skype line number 1, Skype line number 2, and a telephone. For this example, I have 4 total inputs and 3 aux sends. Now my aux send channels are the 2 Skype channels and the telephone line. Check out this Mackie mixer. At first glance, you might say it had more than enough horsepower to get the job done for my show. After all, it's got 6 inputs and plenty of other buttons. Upon further review, you'll notice it's only got 2 aux sends. And since we need 3 for my show, this mixer is actually too small, even though we're not using all the inputs. So the lesson to be learned is always know your inputs and aux sends. That could be a big headache if you don't know this in advance. The next thing you need to look at is show type, and this will be very important when it comes to making your equipment selection. So pay close attention to this part. There's only 2 formats. We've got live broadcast and recorded shows. Now, what classifies each? That's what we're going to go over next. A live broadcast means your show will be on a format like Ustream and Justin TV. The key factor here is live streaming on the internet. That's what makes it a live broadcast. The next type of format is a recorded show. And a recorded show is just mastered in post and then shared with the world. Now understand, you can have a live show element such as Skype or telephone, but again, a recorded show is not streamed over the internet. Now, let's compare the equipment and the pros and cons of each. First up is the mixer. Now, you should use a mixer anytime you're doing a live show format. This is because with an audio interface, all the sound from the show is going straight into the computer, which causes latency when the show is rebroadcast. Pros and cons. First up, the pros. A mixer is the best platform to scale. If you're going to start small and then grow to a bigger show, I think a mixer gives you the best opportunity, especially if you're starting out with a recorded show and then you might consider doing a live broadcast later on. Next thing you need to keep in mind is the overall versatility of a mixer is going to also be better because you're not limited to show format type. It works with both live broadcast and recorded shows. The cons? Well, mixers are complicated and a little intimidating for beginners. They're also the most difficult to install. And the last thing, the mic pre's and sound quality are generally not as good on a mixer as with an audio interface for the same price point. My gear recommendations. First up, the Mackie Onyx I-Series. Also, the Presonus Studio Live. The Studio Live is the mixer I have in studio. It's my personal favorite, and overall, I think it is the best mixer on the market right now for the price point. The main thing you need to understand is don't buy anything without a FireWire interface. You need a FireWire interface for redundancy so you can use your personal recorder, such as a Zoom H4n, as a backup copy for your show. More on that later. FireWire interface is the best bet for anyone that simply records a show and doesn't plan on doing a live webcast. Let's take a look at the pros and cons. First up, the pros. Awesome sound quality for the price. It's also great for beginners. It's super easy to set up, and it's generally smaller in size and great for travel. So if you need a portable solution, a FireWire interface or an audio interface is a great first choice. The cons, really there's only one, and that is you cannot do a live show with an audio interface. My gear recommendations for audio interfaces, I've got two. First up would be the Apogee Duet. This is great if you've got a small show, extremely portable package. I've talked about it a lot on my podcast. Really a great value product. You could pick one up used for probably about $275. This is a phenomenal entry-level product. Legendary sound quality. If you've got a bigger show, then my next choice and recommendation would be the Apogee Ensemble, and that's actually what I'm using to record the audio quality for this show. So that's it. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed this video.